Welcome to Political Education with myself, activist Ghee. Let's get into it.
Young and untrained, I'll be your guide to the future. They said the last one made it out alive. That's why I'm their favorite. As we boys go on a political education show, we will learn for our brothers and sisters of today. We will learn as we move forward in the world. We will learn as we walk side by side. Born into turmoil, and I'm about to become modern. They say I'm hot-headed, but I've got a lot to say.
The lesson for this video is understanding how the political process works on the ballot. The popular candidate on the ballot is the president. But what is the purpose of the rest of the candidates on the ballot? What role do they play on the ballot and in the political process for us as American citizens? The goal of this video is to show how each candidate is equally important as the president or the presidential candidate on the ballot. This is a sample ballot that I downloaded from the internet, and it is a ballot that I would have to use because I am a Georgia resident, City of Atlanta resident, and Fulton County resident. So this is the ballot that I would have to use in this general election. And this is what we will be using for the lesson today. Let's start with the popular candidate on the ballot, the presidential candidate. What is the role of a president in America? This is something that every American citizen who is allowed to vote, who is registered to vote, should know before casting their vote for a president. The president is both the head of state. Now let's stop right here. If we come to a word or a phrase that we don't understand, such as head of state, which I'm sure that we all have heard multiple times, but maybe in most cases do not know the definition of that word or that phrase or the meaning of that phrase. So let's look into it. Head of state definition: the chief public representative of a country, such as a president or monarch. Now, we came to another word that most people may not know what it means. So let's look into monarch. Monarch definition: a sovereign head of state, especially a king, queen, or emperor. See, this is important because we must understand what we are reading. When we skip over words or phrases that we don't know, then we're not fully obtaining the knowledge or understanding of what we're reading, so we can make a conscious decision or gain any knowledge based on what we are reading. So that's why it's always important to stop when you are reading some literature. If you come across a phrase or word that you don't understand, and then look for the definition and get a full understanding of it. Now let's return back to the role of an American president. The president is both the head of state and head of government of the United States of America and commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Under Article 2 of the Constitution, the president is responsible for the execution and enforcement of the laws created by Congress. Based on the duties and responsibilities of an American president, which candidate do you feel deserves to be in the seat for the next presidential term? Even though most American citizens base their vote on things such as race, gender, social group status, and political party. The true intent for our vote was to be based on the eligibility of a candidate being able to carry out the duties and responsibilities of that political seat. The next group of candidates on my general election sample ballot are the U.S. House of Representatives, also known as Congress members, also known as congressmen and congresswomen. What are the duties of our U.S. Congress members? Also referred to as a congressman or congresswoman. Each representative is elected to a 2-year term serving the people of a specific congressional district. Among other duties, representatives introduce bills and resolutions, offer amendments, and serve on committees. Based on the duties of a United States Congress member, which candidate do you believe deserve your vote? The next candidate group is for state senate. On this ballot, these particular 3 candidates are running unopposed. Unopposed means a candidate is running without being challenged by another candidate for the political seat. Let's go over the duties and responsibilities for a state senator. A senator's duties are broader than deliberations during the 3-month legislative session. Senators represent the interests of their constituents year-round by helping citizens in their dealings with government agencies and studying problems which citizens feel require legislation. Based on the duties and responsibilities for a state senator, this should determine who deserves your vote, which candidate deserves your vote. The next candidate group is for a district attorney. A district attorney has many responsibilities and duties, so I found a short video to explain the roles and duties of a district attorney.
There's been a lot of attention on district attorneys lately and the prosecutor's role in the criminal justice system. But you might not know all the things the DA does, the limits on the DA's power, and the ways the DAs have already been changing their approach to prosecution in recent years. The DA's #1 responsibility is keeping our community safe. We do that in 3 basic ways that we call the 3 Ps. Prosecute criminals who break the law, work to prevent crimes from happening in the first place, and protect and support victims of crime and make sure their voices are heard. When you think of the DA, you probably think prosecutors. While that's a big part of our job, the power we have to hold criminals accountable is carefully defined by the law and our ethical responsibilities. When someone's arrested, we carefully review the facts and the evidence. We can only file the criminal charges we believe we can prove beyond a reasonable doubt. Our job includes protecting the rights of the innocent, as well as those we charge with a crime. Then, the case moves through the justice system, which provides checks and balances and accountability. Public defenders, criminal defense attorneys, and judges all play a role in how the case will resolve. Prosecutors alone don't determine a person's punishment if they're convicted. That's up to a judge and jury once we've proved our case. Our goal is always fair and equal justice for everyone, but also justice that's smart and reflects the needs of our society and the will of the people. As prosecutors, we also have the ability to give people second chances. That's why we work with special courts that steer people away from jail, still hold them accountable, but get them the help they need to break the cycle and stay out of jail. Help like mental health treatment, finding a place to live, or kicking a drug or alcohol addiction. We also support restorative justice programs that help offenders understand the harm that they've caused to a particular victim or community. That's one way we prevent crime, but there are lots of others. We work with youth to help them make good choices and stay in school. We support programs that help people who are coming out of prison to find jobs. And we let the public know how to recognize and report crimes like child abuse, elder abuse, sexual assault, and human trafficking. The third big part of our job is protecting and supporting victims of crime. In a typical year, the DA's office comes into contact with thousands of victims, and we help them in lots of ways. We help get them emotional support for the trauma they suffer from having a child or loved one murdered, or the emotional pain from a violent crime like rape. We help victims even when we can't file charges against the person who hurt them. We sometimes even use therapy dogs to help them testify in court and tell their story. Arf! We do all of this on behalf of you, the people. We embrace reform, but we'll always work to make sure change happens in a way that continues to keep our neighborhoods and you safe. And we're accountable to you and to the laws in every state across the nation.
Based on the role, duty, and responsibilities of a district attorney, this should determine which candidate deserves or doesn't deserve your vote. The next candidate group is for sheriff. And we see that Patrick Labatt is running unopposed. Now let's watch a short video on the duties and responsibilities of sheriff.
Welcome to County Office, your ultimate guide to local government services and public records. Let's get started.
What does a sheriff do? Imagine the Wild West, but let's swap the tumbleweeds and duels for modern-day law and order. Here's where the sheriff comes in. Not just a character from your favorite Western film, a sheriff plays a key role in contemporary society. They're the law enforcement royalty in counties across the United States. But what exactly does their scepter of authority allow them to do? Sheriffs wear many hats. And no, we're not just talking about those wide-brimmed numbers. They oversee the county jail, ensuring that it runs smoothly and securely. They also serve court documents like subpoenas and eviction notices. Think of them as the mail carriers of the legal realm, but with a badge. They're also the chief peace officers of their county. This means they're responsible for preventing crime and investigating when it does occur. It's like being a detective, only with a larger jurisdiction and a star-shaped badge. In times of emergency, the sheriff is the go-to person. They coordinate disaster response and ensure public safety. They're like the captains of the ship when the seas get rough. Election time? Sheriffs are on it. They provide security at polling places, making sure democracy happens safely. They're like the referees in the game of voting, minus the whistles. And let's not forget about civil processes. Sheriffs play a vital role in enforcing orders from the courts. They're like the executors of the judge's wills, ensuring that the law is upheld. So you see, being a sheriff is a multifaceted job. It's about upholding the law, protecting the community, and wearing that star with pride. They're the real-life heroes without capes, keeping the peace from sunrise to sunset.
Based on the duties and responsibilities of sheriff, that should determine who gets your vote, which candidate has earned your vote. Under Patrick Labatt's name, you see incumbent Democrat. Let's go over the meaning of incumbent. The incumbent is the current holder of an office or position in an election. The incumbent is the person holding or acting in the position that is up for election, regardless of whether they are seeking re-election. The next candidate group is for tax commissioner, and we see that this candidate is running unopposed, and this is the incumbent candidate. Let's go over the duties and responsibilities for a tax commissioner. Tax commissioner responsibilities. Responsibilities include preparation of the digest. Let's stop right here because many of us as voters may not know what the digest is. So let's look into it. Let's get the meaning of digest. Digest means the total listing of taxable assessments on the annual tax roll of a given county that has been certified by the tax receiver or county tax commissioner to the Department of Revenue for the purpose of gaining authorization for billing and collecting ad valorem tax. Now let's stop right here because, again, many of us as voters may not understand what ad valorem tax meaning is. So let's look into that. Ad valorem is a Latin phrase that translates to according to the value. The essential characteristic of ad valorem tax is that it is proportional to the value of the underlying asset, unlike a specific tax where the tax amount remains constant in respective of the underlying asset's value. Now that we have this understanding, we can now go back to the tax commissioner's duties and responsibilities. I will start from the beginning. Tax commissioner responsibilities. Responsibilities include preparation of the digest, performing all functions related to billing, collecting, dispersing, and accounting for ad valorem taxes collected in the county, receiving tax returns and applications for a homestead filed by taxpayers. Based on the duties and responsibilities of the tax commissioner, this should determine if a candidate or candidates deserve your vote.
We will end this lesson here, and I hope that everyone has a full understanding on the purpose of voting. Thank you so much for tuning in, and looking forward to seeing you on the next lesson. Be blessed.
I'm in America, living in America, but I think I need another pass through political history, 'cause I can't tell what's real from what is fiction, and it's hard to keep them apart with activist McGee. Well, hey, we got to get up off the ground for the next movement there. You know that we gotta stay awake to save our children here. Yeah, we gotta stay awake to save our children here. Yeah, we gotta stay awake to save our children here now. I'm in America, living in America, but I think I need another pass through political history, 'cause I can't tell